This started out being a way to make gifts for my family. All of our Christmas gifts were handmade from me and Jack to our kids or to our brothers, sisters, and all that. So it started out as a way of making gifts. And then pretty soon I'm pretty fascinated by it and enjoying doing it so much that I'm deciding maybe I could sell these. People are starting to ask me to buy pieces I would make for Jack, and people he worked with would see the pieces and ask to buy them. So the first place I started to sell work is kind of an interesting little story because it was in a shop in Whitesburg called the Cozy Corner. And Josephine and Bill Richardson received the Governor's Award in the Arts in 2003. And that was the first place I ever sold work, was in Josephine's shop in the Cozy Corner. And I created the award that year for the Governor's Award in the Arts. So it was really coming full circle to me to be able to make this object
terrific
for a
for you.
person who had become my friend and who was a place that I had first sold work. And then from there, it just kind of grows. I mean, one thing leads to another. We moved here. I moved from Knott County to Jackson County and started hearing about the Kentucky Guild. Joined the Kentucky Guild. I think it was 1979 that I joined the Kentucky Guild and started doing local shows. So I did the outdoor shows. I would do them for a few years and get rained on every year and swear off. And then forget and go back a couple of years later. But the Kentucky Guild really gave me a place to get started. It was really a springboard into a more growing environment. I went from the Kentucky Guild on to regional shows, joined the Ohio Designer Craftsman and started doing Ohio Designer Craftsman shows, joined Southern Highlands Craft Guild, started doing shows in Asheville, North Carolina, joined the Piedmont Craft Guild and did shows in Winston-Salem. And then after that, started going on more the national show level, started doing shows with the American Craft Council, Atlanta, Minneapolis, Charlotte. In 1994, I first heard about a Smithsonian Craft Show, and as soon as I read about that, I knew that I wanted to do that show. So that's a very competitive show. There's only 100 spaces, and they get maybe 1,500 applicants who are trying to fit into 100 spaces. If you don't have really great photos, you don't have any chance at all.
Wow.
The jury process happens so fast. They flash your image up there for just a few seconds. You got to really grab them. So we had a professional photographer photograph our work for several years, and he moved away. So he moved to Colorado, but before he moved, he taught us how to do photography. So Jack has been photographing our work now for more than a decade. I no longer do outdoor shows. It just has become too much of a challenge, and there comes a point in life where you just know that you can choose now, and there is only a limited amount of time, and there are only certain shows that really bring the audience that I need for these pieces. The pieces are really labor intensive. They require a fair amount of money to purchase one. So there are shows that are aimed more at collectors, and that's where I've had to set my goal also, is to be able to get out into the shows where I'm going to meet the buyers to be able to support my work. And I can only do a limited number of shows. The most shows I've ever done in 1 year was 7, and that was too many. 5 is okay. I do lots of exhibitions. I average probably 15 exhibitions per year, and I have been doing that for well over a decade. I started out wanting to develop a resume so that I had something to show for my efforts. So I started jurying into a lot of exhibitions and got a lot of exposure that way and was quite fortunate. And then doing the national shows, as I've been out on the national scene, I've just gotten new opportunities, things that would never have been offered to me had I not stepped out of my comfort zone, because it really is out of my comfort zone. I'm a country person. I love the country. I don't like going to big cities, but I've had to go to Chicago, or I've had to go to Atlanta or Philadelphia or DC to find the buyers to support my work.